Welcome to Am I the Bad Guy? Am I the bad guy for making my stepmom look crazy so I can avoid babysitting her kids? I, 16 female, live with my dad. My mum passed in a bad accident a couple of years ago. My dad met Josie in a grief group or something like that, and they got married last year. Josie has 2 kids, 8 male and 6 male, and I hate living with them. 8 male has really bad ADHD and is constantly accidentally breaking things, making messes, and has meltdowns over the smallest things. 6 male is kind of similar but not quite as bad. They both get into my room and take things and break them. I babysat them once when our parents were dating, and I'd rather jump off a building than ever have to watch them again. I swear to God. Josie offered to pay me when they were dating, but I said no. Now that we all live together, she's been trying to make me deal with them more and more, usually while my dad's not home. My dad thinks I should bond with them more, but he said I don't have to babysit. Josie keeps trying to pull the just watch them for an hour while I go to the shop or loading me up with chores since I'm not watching the kids. I have chores that I do already, so it's not like I'm doing nothing. I just want some time to myself on the weekend. My dad doesn't see it happen, so he thinks I'm exaggerating. I have the smaller bedroom in the house we moved into, but I found out when I was putting stuff away that it has a hatch into like a side attic. Nobody else knows about it. I started keeping stuff I don't want anyone else to get into in there, and it's big enough that I can spread out a blanket and some pillows and read or work on my laptop in peace. I had the idea to just go in there and avoid Josie when my dad's not home, and it worked. She called for me and came looking for me, but couldn't find me. My dad texted me and asked me where I was. I told him in my room, dropped my phone location for him to see. Josie still couldn't find me, but I slipped out before my dad came home and was laying on my bed with a book when he got there. Josie got big mad, asking where I'd been, and said, in my room. My dad showed her the location I sent when she said I was lying and snuck out. Now they're arguing because Josie insists I wasn't in the house, and my dad thinks she's lying and taking it out on me because I wouldn't babysit. I do feel a little bad now because I am making Josie look kind of nuts, but I also don't want to babysit or spend my entire Saturday doing chores. Um, it's not your responsibility, is it? To look after someone else's children. They're not, they are your stepbrothers, but it's still not your responsibility. It's your dad's and Josie's. So I understand that's really, really frustrating. I think what you did, it wasn't really malicious because you didn't plan it to happen that way. But I do want to say this. I don't think there's a bad guy in this situation. Like, I think it's just a frustrating situation. Like, I don't know if Josie's like a bad guy. Do you know what I mean? I just think she's unfairly trying to put some pressure on you. So I suppose if you're gonna say not the bad guy for you, but I wouldn't go as far to say bad guy for Josie. But that's just my opinion. Am I the bad guy for asking a disabled person to move seats on the bus for my child? I, 32 female, was on the bus with my 5-year-old daughter when we got on a busy stop. There were no empty seats available, except for one near a person using a wheelchair. I asked the person if they could move their wheelchair to another spot so that my daughter and I could sit together, but the person declined, saying that they needed the space for their mobility device. I was taken aback and frustrated by this response. I explained to them that my daughter was very young and needed to sit next to me for safety reasons, but they still refused to move. I ended up having to stand for the entire ride with my daughter in tow, which was uncomfortable and tiring for both of us. When I told a friend about what happened, they said I was being insensitive and ableist. They pointed out that the person in the wheelchair had a right to the space they needed and that it was unfair of me to ask them to move. Now I'm questioning whether or not I was in the wrong for asking the person to move. Am I the bad guy for asking a disabled person to move seats on the bus for my child? Yes. Yes, you are. there's literally there's disabled spaces on the bus for disabled people. Specifically for disabled people. What is this post? What kind of post is this? This is ridiculous. It's for disabled people. It's a disabled space. Oh. What is this? Oh my God. You're the bad guy. Yep. Easy. Very. Oh, God. Am I the bad guy for refusing to punish my son for calling his classmates' food weird? I, female 32, got a private text this morning from the mother of my son's male 7 classmate. She told me that apparently my son has been calling her daughter's traditional lunch weird, and apparently that is making her daughter feel uncomfortable and insecure. She asked me to please talk to my son about being more sensitive and respectful so her daughter doesn't feel excluded. Now, I feel for this woman as a fellow mother. No one wants to see their child feeling sad, but overcoming insecurities is a big part of growing up. Additionally, I thought it was ridiculous of her to criticize my son, a 7-year-old, for making relatively innocuous and curious comments about food that is not familiar to him. He's at a curious age and is discovering the world, and I refuse to try and limit him and shut him down for not having the emotional sensitivity of an adult. Politely, I told that mother that I was sorry her daughter was struggling with insecurities, and I found some online parenting articles about building your child's confidence to send to her so she could use some tips to help her daughter out. She replied and said I was acting completely shamelessly and disgracefully, and I am not able to text her anymore. Am I the bad guy? I mean, imagine here, right? Okay, listen here, and it's not as serious as what I'm about to say. Like, it's not as harsh as this, but just hear me out. Imagine you get a text saying that your son is bullying someone, and you go, "Oh well, they're just a child." Ha, that's what children do. This is ridiculous. Sort yourself out. Really, sort yourself out. You're the bad guy. You 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 have to teach your children that you can't just go around judging people for. I assume so. Here at the start it says traditional lunch, right? So I'm assuming that this child is of a different ethnicity, and your son is, yes, probably just questioning. What is this? I've not seen this. But you have to, as a parent, sit down with your child and say, there's lots of different people in the world who eat different things and do different things, and it might seem strange to you, but it's normal to them. And you can't just go around saying, oh, that's weird, I don't like that. But, this is ridiculous again. Some people on this app, really. Am I the bad guy for smoking next to a pregnant woman at a concert? Yesterday, I went out to see a concert. The band I was seeing has a very heavy drug scene associated with it. I was in an assigned seat section and made small talk with the couple next to me while waiting. About 10 minutes into the first set, I light up a joint, and about 5 minutes after, the husband complains to me about his wife being pregnant. I told them both it's a show. You came here, you can choose to leave. He tried to cause a scene, but nothing happened since I just ignored them both and danced. I told my roommates this earlier today, and they said I was being a bad guy for smoking next to the pregnant lady. Am I the bad guy here? Okay. If you were in standing, then fine. Because, the people around you can just move. I mean, a little bit difficult, but you can just move, right? But they're obviously not in standing. Probably, to be fair, because she's pregnant. And being in standing would be a little bit dangerous. So this is super bad guy. Like, so inconsiderate. Like, so inconsiderate. I would be so angry if this happened to me. Like, if I was sitting next to someone and I asked them, please stop doing that, and they just said, oh, well, you can choose to leave. That's ridiculous. This is really very, very rude. And the fact that you could even think that it's not, it's just mental. Thank you for watching.